far, right? You know what? Maybe they're all coming for the wastewater treatment plant. Or for Prospect Street.
Yep.
Oh, I'm being silly.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Hi, how are you? Put my 2 cents.
If you're interested in speaking during public comment tonight, you need to sign up on the comment sheet. I see that we have a number of people already signed up to speak on the golf course, and I just wanted to make sure that you know that it is not on the agenda tonight, and the council cannot discuss it, respond to any questions, or interact with you in any way because it's not on our agenda tonight. So, well, that's my speech. Thank you. So thanks for being here. Extra because it's not.
Hey, evening.
Greg is coming? I'm assuming so, but I guess I
He
don't.
just got back from Taiwan.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. But getting settled, may I ask you a quick question? Did the Public Works Board provide a recommendation on the wastewater treatment plant that fed into the documents that we were reading for today?
I'd have to look.
Okay.
That one that was added today, I haven't had time to review it yet.
Well, all it was really was the public comment from Mark Cart, or his email.
Yes.
That was suggesting perhaps that maybe some of the items were not necessary. And that's not fair, that's not how he said it, but like
I
we're
know.
maybe not as critical as others. And so I was just curious if you, because your recommendation, Public Works Board doesn't have a recommendation in here, so I just, I didn't take it. You didn't?
I have to look.
Okay, you haven't worked on one that you recall, though, since you've been on.
I think we recommended it at the last meeting, but I'm not sure.
I can go out and look at your minutes, I never thought about that.
Yeah. I thought it came up at the last meeting, and I thought we recommended approval at the last meeting, but
I just,
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, my other sheet seems to be
That's where some
one of you as well.
stress
Yeah.
aspect.
I'm gonna go by some eyes. Just get on my phone. Oh. Oh, okay.
Very great.
Thanks.
We didn't get our others.
Everybody knows how we take what to expect.
You might want to be careful about the mics tonight. They might be a little bit more sensitive.
Oh, okay, good to know.
New people in the back.
We're going.
Green.
Okay. Wow. Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. If I could have quiet, please, so I don't have to gavel. I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Lake Mills City Council for January 20th, 2026. Lisa, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Curler,
Here.
Ms. Schmager,
Here.
Ms. Quidnow,
Here.
Mr. Coots,
Here.
Mr. Waters.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Before we get started, Drake, I'll just have you explain what we have for our technology this
Sure.
evening. We have a bit of a transition.
Yep, we'd like to thank Watertown Community Media for stepping in and assisting us. They are broadcasting right now to our YouTube channel. It will be recorded and available. We are still working on remote participation abilities through the integrated system, but our meetings can be viewed remotely right now and will be available on our YouTube channel for those who want to watch after the meeting. But thank you very much for them for very quickly getting up to speed and helping us out.
Thank you. Thank you, Watertown Media. So again, we are broadcasting tonight, but there's no ability for remote participation during the meeting tonight. So, okay. Our next agenda item is correction and acceptance of the City Council meeting minutes. So we have 2 work sessions and regular council minutes. Does anyone have any corrections on any of those minutes? Okay, I do want to give a brief summary of our 2 work sessions. We had a few citizens at the December one. We didn't have any residents or members of the public at the last one, but we've had 2 work sessions on Sandy Beach Park, and I think want to make sure that people are aware, since the minutes are usually fairly brief. We've been discussing the goals, the overall goals for redevelopment of Sandy Beach Park, and we went through all the Parks Board recommendations for recreational amenities and sort of ranked those and determined which ones we wanted to move forward. At our last meeting, we refined the goals, and we also discussed food and beverage. So we kind of talked about the pros and cons of different levels of service that we could have for food service at Sandy Beach Park in the future. And we reached a general consensus that we wanted to include a seasonal concession stand type of structure in the updated master plan. So some of the next steps that we have, we've asked the staff to work on a number of items to keep it moving forward. First and foremost is to start working with landscape architect consultants to work on an updated park plan, and that would incorporate our updated goals as well as the direction that we've given on the recreational amenities. Staff will be continuing to implement the decision that we made last fall on decommissioning Level B of the mobile home community after next season. Parking, we've asked the staff to develop some options for the council to consider, could be related to charging fees for parking, also addressing the Sandy Beach Road congestion. We had an offer for a donation from the Rock Lake Improvement Association for some environmental consulting work, so staff will be working with them to bring that proposal forward. And then we've asked staff to estimate costs of some of the proposed amendments. Okay, so I didn't hear any corrections or comments on the minutes, so we'll accept the city council meeting minutes and work session minutes into our record. Our next agenda item is board and committee reports and acceptance of board and committee meeting minutes. We have quite a few for our review tonight. Are there any comments or corrections that anyone wants to make on any of the listed minutes? Okay, I'm not seeing any comments, so we'll accept all of those into our public record. Okay, correspondence and constituent contacts. So I'm going to kick it off. This was a long break between our last session since we didn't have a meeting on January 6th. So I got lots of correspondence and had lots of contacts. So I'll try to go through, and then if there's anything that any of you had that I didn't, which always happens, feel free to then add that as we go around. So number one, we all were notified about our remote access and broadcast being temporarily unavailable because our primary city employee who worked on that is on medical leave. So we're appreciating being able to try to restore some of those services. I received, our stores are not selling cigarettes to minors, and so we got that annual report. I received the annual audit from the Lake Mills Housing Authority. And last but not least, lots of correspondence about proposed redevelopment of the golf course. I heard from 34 different individuals. I think I counted this up about 5 o'clock, so if somebody sent me something after that, it's probably not in the count. Most of the correspondence that I received was from residents around the course. Some are from around the community. I also received correspondence from the golf course owner and a call from the developer. So I think that's my list. Did anybody else have something that I didn't list, or maybe a different count? Michelle?
Did you mention the email regarding Operation Namesake? I wasn't sure if I heard you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
all
so
right, I
that's
just
from the
wanted-
American Legion. Yes, thanks for.
And since I have the mic, I might as well just continue. The only other conversation or correspondence that I had was with a current golf course superintendent and then also a former owner of a golf course who had a similar situation that we are in right now.
Great, thanks. Greg Waters, anything else?
Just a ton of golf course correspondence. That's it.
Okay. Mary?
I had many of the same that you had, Lisa, as well as a Sandy Beach food and beverage idea correspondence.
Great. And Greg Coots?
Yeah, I had all the golf course correspondence. I'd been actually sending replies to most of them. I want to say all, but I can't guarantee. I might have missed one. I know I missed at least one because we got one this afternoon I haven't responded to yet. But just trying to dig deeper into what was being proposed or what citizens were asking. One of those conversations of note came from the actual physical letter that I believe we all received dated December 9th from Lakeside's athletic director. Responding to him, I had a conversation with him and the executive director of Lakeside, and they indicated that at this time Lakeside is not interested in becoming an owner of a golf course.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so our next agenda item is public comment. So individuals who have registered to speak are invited to address the council at this time. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address when you're called upon. We are not taking any action for items that are not listed on the agenda, and each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. We do have a timer over here, so you can see the amount of time. So I have a list of 12 individuals who are registered to speak. You are all listed that you're interested in speaking about the golf course. And I did talk to people ahead of the meeting, and I want to say again on the record that the golf course or any development a proposal for the golf course is not on the council's agenda tonight, so we will not be discussing it. We will not be able to discuss or answer any questions or have any dialogue about the golf course tonight. Okay, so the first person, and I'll read names ahead so you can be prepared to come up. Ken France is first, and then Julie Taylor, and then Julie Nelson.
Good evening. My name is Ken France, and I reside at 331 Pinnacle Drive. Recently, I heard a song that just seems to fit how I feel about our community's golf course crisis. Joni Mitchell's lyrics fit so well. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put in a parking lot. Well, I know I'm showing my age, but it's a favorite song of mine. In many ways, the golf course symbolizes paradise to me. 9 years ago, when my wife Julie and I built our retirement home, we made the biggest financial investment of our lives. The possibility of our property value decreasing due to the proposed housing development greatly concerns us. The golf course, with its mature trees and breathtaking landscapes, offers priceless beauty to us and our community. Any day, I'll see deer, sandhill cranes, pheasant, cardinals, orioles, robins, geese, owls, woodpeckers, turkeys, rabbits, chipmunks, and squirrels all live in our community's paradise with us. As a retired school guidance counselor, psychotherapist, and swimming coach, I fully understand the importance of living in an environment that promotes both physical and emotional wellness, which the City of Lake Mills certainly does for us. The Lake Mills Golf Course is a priceless and vivid example of this healthy environment and has been for 98 years. Our last 9 years living in Lake Mills, in our home, next to the 7th hole of the golf course, has been a heaven on earth for us. Please don't pave paradise. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Next is Julie Taylor, and then Julie Nelson, and then Clark Collins.
Good evening. My name is Julie Taylor, and I live at 331 Pinnacle Drive. I'd like to thank you all for your time, effort, and commitment to the City of Lake Mills as City Council members and public servants. I'm here to express my opposition to the zoning change and housing development proposed for the Lake Mills Golf Course. This is my second time speaking before you, and I appreciate the opportunity. The last time I was here, about a month ago, I talked about Lake Mills city leaders of the past who had the foresight to choose preserving land and natural areas over development. These decisions ultimately benefited the entire community of Lake Mills. Tonight, I would just like to say that when my husband and I decided to retire to Lake Mills, we were so thrilled to find the beautiful lot where we built our home on Pinnacle Drive. Never did we think we'd be fortunate enough to live on a golf course, but the location in Lake Mills made it even more perfect. Being able to safely walk from our house to Rock Lake or to the bike trail or downtown are all factors that contribute to our love of Lake Mills. The golf course, being situated in the midst of all these amenities, is such a unique and irreplaceable aspect of our community. It's been mentioned that the golf course will just become abandoned land if the zoning change to allow a housing development isn't approved. In the Lake Mills strategic plan, the golf course is identified as a golf course, not a potential location for future development. It's my understanding that the strategic plan was developed with community input, and its purpose is to guide the City Council with making decisions and setting priorities for the future good of Lake Mills. I cannot believe that including the golf course in the strategic plan was just done as an afterthought or placeholder meant to be easily changed or dismissed. Instead, it was viewed as a valuable and critical piece of keeping Lake Mills legendary. The golf course has been an important part of this community's identity for nearly 100 years. When someone or something turns 100, it's worth celebrating. Please maintain the current golf course zoning and allow the opportunity for other options to be explored to preserve our community treasure. It would be great to celebrate the golf course's centennial and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. So Julie Nelson and then Clark Collins.
Hello, my name is Julie Nelson. My husband Jeff and I recently moved to Lake Mills in August and live at 105 Pinnacle Drive. We fell in love with Lake Mills for its small town atmosphere, the history and character of our downtown, and most importantly, the outdoor lifestyle that the city provides with the lake, the Drumlin Trail, and the golf course. These are assets that draw people here and support Lake Mills' legendary status. It's why we moved here. I am here tonight in support of saving the golf course from development. My husband and I are avid golfers, and as new residents, we were looking forward to being members of the golf course. We bought our house on Pinnacle for the proximity to the golf course and for the beautiful views we enjoy. We paid a premium to live on the golf course and to live in the Ridge, which, as our neighborhood sign promotes, is a golf course community. I understand the current owners no longer want to operate the golf course. Their supporters will say they have the right to sell to whomever they want. I disagree with this. They bought a golf course that is part of a golf course community. Just because they want to sell doesn't give them the right to sell to developers. They claim they have received no credible offers to continue golf operations. However, any offer to invest and maintain the golf course and its clubhouse will no doubt be less attractive financially than the development proposal provided by Luz Homes. It should not be the city's responsibility to help them profit with a zoning change at the cost of 100 residents who will lose 20 to 30% of their property values should the development be granted. We need the city to recognize the potential for this property holds to be a successful golf course and clubhouse or supper club, which will bring people to our amazing city. The golf course is an integral part of this community, just like the lake, the trail, its parks, and downtown. The community has literally been built around it. Both our high school's golf and cross-country teams depend on it, and its mature trees and green space are irreplaceable. While growth is inevitable, the city's own 2040 comprehensive plan indicates that there are other viable properties available to support this growth without sacrificing this valuable asset. As a new full-time resident, I'm asking the city to reject the proposed zoning changes. The city must continue to promote growth, not just through smart and strategic residential planning, but also by preserving the essential character of Lake Mills and the property values of its residents. This preservation is what will ensure Lake Mills remains both a desirable place to live and a premier destination for visitors and businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. And Julie, I don't think we got your address. 105. Thank you. Okay, good. Okay, Clark Collins is next, and then it'll be Vincent Studer after that.
Hi, I'm Clark Collins. I'm a resident living at 900 Pinnacle Drive. And I too am here to talk about the rezoning of the golf course and why I think it's a bad idea. But I'll talk mostly about why I think this golf course in particular is important. It's important to me and my family. Yeah, I live there. We've lived there for the last 9 years with our kids. But my wife grew up here in Lake Mills with a big family. I have in-laws who live one direction and live on the golf course. I have in-laws live the other direction, live on the golf course. So we're certainly all a part of this community. But again, I have a large family. My brothers-in-law, they were on the golf team at Lakeside. Just as a family, they would go out golfing. And these were important memories, important things for them. So much so that when one of my brothers-in-law passed away, that the way that we decided to honor his memory and to fundraise for his kids to ultimately attend Lakeside was to have a golf outing. And that golf outing happened every year for many, many years. And it started here in Lake Mills. And it started also because of his love for the game, because of their family's love for the game and how important it was to them. One of my other brothers-in-law actually went to school for golf course management and has worked in the golf course industry. So it's not just about, are we going to lose some value on our homes? It's about the things that go along with a course like this, different things. And I'm sure many other people have similar stories. I'm sure many people have stories about the lake and how that means so much to them in the community. It's one of those things I think this community values. I think that's part of the reason, as already was brought up, that it's in the long-range plan, and so it should be. It's one of the jewels of our community. It's one of those, legendary Lake Mills places because it's almost 100 years old. So I think that it has so much value to the community and to others. I think it can be run well as a golf course. I think maybe it's just not the current owners who want to do that. That's fine. And as was previously said too, I don't think the city is necessarily here to bail them out or to allow them to change what it is, but because they've decided they can't make a go of it. I think that maybe somebody else could. But I think the most important thing is, again, what it means to people, what it means to families, and it would be a shame to have that go away. Thank you.
Perfect timing, thank you. Okay, Vincent Studer is next, and then Anita Martin will be after that.
My name is Vincent Studer, and my wife and Joanne and I live at 230 Pinnacle Drive, which is adjacent to the golf course. So thank you for allowing me to speak this evening concerning the proposal to convert Lake Mills golf course property into a housing development. Also, I want to thank you all for serving on the council and trying to do what is best for the overall welfare of the legendary Lake Mills community and its residents. I think you all deserve praise for that. We moved to Lake Mills in the fall of 2021 and purchased our home at 230 Pinnacle Drive. We wanted to live in this region of the state because of our daughter and family in Madison area. We looked at houses in all the surrounding communities and could have selected another community, but we chose Lake Mills for numerous reasons. One of which is that the community provides many recreational activities and opportunities for families, including the golf course. I've had a membership all 4 years at the golf course. We love our backyard view and the course and the various wildlife. Everybody that lives around there loves that. My wife and I oppose the converting of the golf course to a housing development because it will take away this valuable community asset and recreational attraction to this community. We understand there are financial implications either way on this proposal, but we ask you to thoughtfully consider the long-term impact of zoning change that will allow the elimination of this recreational attraction for Lake Mills. We also have various concerns about the high school program, which was already mentioned. We also personally concerned about the potential increase in traffic congestion in that area of Highway 89. I've witnessed several near accidents there when I've driven my grandkids to Lakeside School. Also, we believe it can have a negative impact on the adjacent homeowners' financial and emotional well-being. So we really would like for you to consider seriously to keep the golf course as it is. Again, thank you for your thoughtful consideration in this matter.
Thank you. Next is Anita Martin and then Kirk Grundall.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Anita Martin. We live at 261 Pinnacle Drive in Lake Mills. Again, I'm here, like many others, to talk about the Lake Mills Golf Course. The Lake Mills Golf Course has served as an important community asset for 98 years, setting us apart from many other communities in our area. It's a place where 1 to 2 dozen high school students gather each year for golf teams. It brings our young people together in real time, off their phones at least most of the time they're on the course, out in fresh air and sunshine, talking to each other and enhancing their communication, cooperation, and conflict resolution skills. The golf course is good for the mental health not only for teenagers, but for people of all ages. The Lake Mills Golf Course is a place where dads teach their young kids, and many times it's young sons, to play golf. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's a place where families, friends, old and new, gather for fun and fellowship. It's also a place where business is discussed and sometimes transacted. And believe you me, there's some interesting conversations that one hears in their backyard about business aspects of Lake Mills. We've seen this all firsthand for the last 13 years. The golf course is a place where tournaments are regularly held for nonprofit organizations, which several people mentioned, including the local veterans associations. It's a place where high school reunions are held. It's a place, as mentioned before by others, abundant and rich in wildlife, cranes, eagles, turkeys, possums, etc. Do we really want to lose this community asset? Once it's gone, it is gone. The proposal to rezone first goes to the Planning Commission, and then their recommendations go to you all, the city council members, for consideration and possible action. It appears there's been some recent information brought forward about legal issues. It's my understanding there are legal questions surrounding actions which were taken back in 2013 or 2014 and earlier regarding the covenants which govern the golf course. Before going any further, and unfortunately Attorney Drescher isn't here tonight, but I ask our city attorney, Mr. Dan Drescher, to please thoroughly and completely investigate and evaluate the legality of rezoning the 100 acres. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Kirk Grundle, and then Jeff Allen will be after that.
My name is Kirk Grundle. I live at 1130 Fairway Court. Thank you very much. Obviously, we've communicated indirectly. I wish I could know each of you personally. It'd be great. The issue here for me is obviously, the golf course is important, and I think there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of things that can be done there. And it has to be a collaborative issue. But most importantly, in 1994, there was a declaration. Every time you sign a declaration, it's a legal instrument, as Anita said. In 2004, the declaration was amended. That's also a legal instrument. And then 2013, there was a notary on that particular amendment. That's the First Amendment. There is now a Second Amendment that I signed that followed the law, as to the best of my ability. That's a declaration, that's a legal instrument. Every time I sign a legal declaration, which I've done many, many times throughout my career, that has to be taken seriously. This all starts and stops with an understanding of what the legal ramifications are here. That needs to be vetted. It's very serious. State law is very serious on this particular issue, because a declaration needs to be written by state law so that every individual can understand it. Every individual in this room, every individual sitting here, and myself, the ignorance of the law is no excuse. Everyone can read the law. This, again, we have to decide if this is a legal instrument, it needs to be acted upon. So that's the first question. And those are three questions. Is 1994 legal? Is 2004 legal? And is 2026 legal? So thank you very much. I can't imagine sitting in your shoes. Tough. Happy to help. But there's some serious issues here. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grundall.
Mr. Grundall, did you state your address?
Yes, you did.
1130 Fairway Court.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Jeff Allen is next, and then Bob Gums, I think it is, will be after that.
Hello. My name is Jeff Allen. I live at 146 Pinnacle. Here are just some of my feelings about the sudden plan to build over 100 homes on our almost 100-year-old golf course. My wife and I moved to Lake Mills 4 years ago because this town oozes recreation, history, and charm. We were lucky enough to find a house on the golf course under the expectation that we were making a good investment and that the beautiful green space would always be there. As a lifelong golfer, the first thing I did was buy a family membership at the golf course. I quickly noticed the course had good bones, but had seen better days. And I feel for the owners. I see them work hard, but they are sadly understaffed. The marketing of the course really doesn't take place, again, because of the understaffing that goes on. And I believe I know golf is growing among young people, and a social media footprint is going to be important to the future of the golf course. The location of the golf course is perfect for community gatherings, family occasions, private parties, even small wedding receptions. I heard the Friday night fish fries in the past were legendary. A junior golf program, golf lessons, a well-stocked pro shop, advertised leagues, charity events, golf simulators, etc. would bring more people in. And then partnerships with our fine area merchants and restaurants would show our community spirit. How about a cross-country ski event during the Knickerbocker Festival? There's so many opportunities with this treasure that we have in the middle of our town. I'm pretty sure that people that have looked at the golf course in the past have seen it as a diamond in the rough. No pun intended on that, but as a good business opportunity and an asset for the city. And having a golf course so close to downtown is rare and exciting. I'd like to end by thanking you for your diligent work on the development of the old Century site. I feel that's a win for the city. But ending something that's been a part of the uniqueness of legendary Lake Mills for almost 100 years would be a mistake that couldn't be undone. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is Bob, is it Gums? Do I have that right? Okay, thanks. And then it'll be Jenna Spielman.
I'm Bob Gums, 311 Pinnacle Drive. My goal for the golf course is to remain a destination for future generations. In 2015, my wife and I were inspired by a Loose Homes advertisement that read, "Golf course living, build your dream home on the scenic golf course." We purchased our lot and built our home with the intention of living here throughout retirement. We have truly enjoyed our location on the 10th green. Our two sons participated in the high school golf team, and we continue to value the community atmosphere as golfers of all ages pass by. While I am a casual golfer, we support the golf course with the same dedication we show to every other business in Lake Mills. Saving the golf course is more than a slogan, it is a responsibility to our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jenna Spielman is next, and then Rob Neath.
Hello, I'm Jenna Spielman, and I live at 251 Pinnacle Drive. When I was in high school, my dad thought it would be a great idea for my brother and myself to take golf lessons so that we could be prepared for any future golf outing that may come our way once we finished college and got our adult jobs. I can tell you I have yet to golf related to my work environment. However, it was a great shared just hobby and fun thing to do in the summer with my dad and my brother for all those summers until I went off to college. We've lived in our house on Pinnacle Drive for the last 5.5 years. Over time, my 9-year-old son now also has an interest in golf, and I would love more than anything for him to be able to have lessons and play at the golf course here and have similar memories like I had. It's already been mentioned that this city and community has great community spirit. We have it in our organized events throughout the year that people plan on, that people count on. But I also see these green spaces and recreational areas like Sandy Beach, like the golf course, Tyranina on a weekend night in the summer where you can listen to music and have a beer and eat food truck food and really just get together with people, whether you meant to run into them or not. You know they're going to be there, and you know it's going to be a fun time. People aren't the only aspect of this. I know others have mentioned the animals as well. I'm greatly attached to the cranes and the turkeys, and the owl that I can hear, but I've never actually seen. So there's no undo button here. And I know everybody understands the severity of this decision and the impact it is to the community. And I would just, hope that great consideration is given and that we can find a way to still have this golf course as a great piece of this community that not only the residents love, but also visitors who come. And we know we get a lot of visitors, especially in the summer when they can boat on the lake. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. So we have Rob Neath and then Tom Bach, and those are our last two speakers.
Rob Neath, 139 East Oak Street. I'll have to apologize. I'm an electrical guy and my font's too small. I just want to highlight the points that I oppose rezoning into residential and away from recreational. Some of the loss of social community impacts would be a community gathering space, home course for Lake Mills golf team, Lakeside Lutheran boys and girls golf teams, charity golf events like the Lake Mills Optimist. That provides them the biggest source of funding for the whole year. The chamber outing, which I believe funds the Town and Country Days. It's a shared point of pride and history in this town, and it also brings tourism, people from outside of the town. The change in social dynamics, this one touches me mostly. Fewer informal social connections once created at the golf course. I can tell you in 2007 when I went to town, I knew nobody in Lake Mills. And I would say 90, if not 100% of the relationships I built in this town is through either the golf course or golf itself. Other change in social dynamics would be longtime residents may feel displaced culturally by this new development. Potential tension between existing residents and the newcomers, i.e. the home values, other houses going down now after being recessed. Environmental impacts, loss of the green space and wildlife habitat. Look at my time. Increased stormwater runoff, which I believe also already affects like the 11th fairway. More traffic, noise and light pollution, infrastructure and public services, road congestion at that point on Main Street with all the traffic in the morning and the afternoon during the peak commuting hours for the schools. That's going to be more crowded now. School crowding, how's that going to affect our schools without immediate school expansion? Emergency service strain, is it going to put a strain on our fire, police, and medical response times? Will those be affected? Utility upgrades or infrastructure, often required and costly, often passed to taxpayers. And then wastewater treatment or water supply. I believe that's almost it. I just hope it's more important to preserve the existing established environments and quality of life in Lake Mills than it is to develop more homes in the space that it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Right on the money. And last registered speaker is Tom Bach.
Good evening. My name is Tom Bach. My wife Karen and I live at 341 Pinnacle Drive, next to the tee for the golf course's 7th hole. Let me first say thank you for listening to me speak tonight. My wife and I are opposed to the development of the golf course. We retired to our current home after living in a suburb of Baltimore for 34 years. After living so long in a large metropolitan area, we wanted to retire to a small town with small town charms, not too far from Madison, where our 2 sons work. We found that place in Lake Mills. When we found a house for sale on the golf course with its beautiful views and open space, we jumped at the chance to buy it. Neither I or my wife golf, but we appreciate the aesthetic value of the golf course. The golf course was a major motivation for our buying our house, but now that motivation is in danger of being eliminated. The golf course presents recreational opportunities that will be lost if the housing development is built. The golf course will be lost forever. It is not a reversible process. For nearly 100 years, the golf course has existed in Lake Mills, but now, in its 98th year of existence, it is deemed by some as no longer worthy of existence. It seems a shame that our current generation might fail to maintain the golf course after 98 years of operation. The golf course is not only used by its members, the golf course is also used by the 2 local high schools' golf teams as well as their cross-country teams. If Lake Mills course is lost, these teams will have to travel to other courses further away merely to practice, adding considerable inconvenience to their extracurricular activity. I understand that Lake Mills has a master plan. The proposed development does not conform to that plan. Other development land is available on the outskirts of town, which may suit the city's and the developers' needs and conforms to the master plan. These lands seem to be a more natural choice for development than the golf course. If the proposed development goes through, property values for homeowners on the course will decrease. Supposedly, the town will gain tax revenue and the Lewes Company will profit from the development of the golf course, but those increases in value will come at the expense of those living on the golf course. Google AI states that a house on a golf course will sell at a 7% premium compared to a house not on a golf course. This means a house that ceases to be on a golf course will stand to lose about 6.5% of its value. At the 6.5% rate, a $500,000 home would stand to lose $33,000 in equity. Repeat that 100 times, and you see a loss of $3.3 million in home values. In conclusion, let me say that the golf course has existed for 98 years. I believe that the golf course and restaurant can remain successful in the right hands. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, that is everyone who's registered for public comment this evening. So thank you for your participation, and we will move on to the next agenda item. Let me just get my agenda item right here. Next agenda item is the city manager's report.
There are a number of documents included in your packet. One thing I'll add to my written report is we have begun the process of forming the ice rink at Commons Park, and it is scheduled to be done by Sunday. So you'll see crews out there essentially 24 hours a day preparing it to have it ready. So if you see them, feel free to give them a thank you.
Do they like donuts?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably.
Probably hot chocolate.
Okay, so we have a number of, we have a monthly report from you, Drake, as well as our monthly financials, fire department, police department, Ryan Brothers. Does anyone have any questions or comments on any of those?
Just have one question.
Mary?
I have one comment. First of all, I don't think we have anyone here from our police or fire department, but just a thanks to all of them for their service. I'm obviously in the report some of the services that they've had to provide over the course of the last reporting period were quite extensive, so their work is really appreciated. And there was a question in regards to the fire fire department report. If I read the report correctly, it noted in 2024 to 2025, we were up almost 20% in requests for service. And I just didn't know if that was what we expected, given the new communities that we were serving or the growth that was happening. And I just was curious to know if we were feeling like we had any concerns, given that it was a large increase, it appeared, between 24 and 25. If I read it correctly, because it was worded kind of different in the report. So I didn't think it was doing a month to month. I think it was doing a year to year. So just checking in on making sure that if there are any concerns that were coming up on that.
I can pass along the question to the fire chief. He has not brought any capacity concerns to my attention. It is likely due to additional contracts for service. As we've added people to our EMS territory, in which our fire department is a second out ambulance, is as backup.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments, questions? I'll just maybe one follow-up, and again, thanks to Watertown Media for their assistance tonight. But I really want to thank staff for their delicate handling of the situation and respect for our employee who's unfortunately on medical leave. So we wish him well, and we really miss his service, as obviously it's something that the community has really valued, having these additional services. And I hope people are aware that we are meeting all of our statutory obligations for open meetings. So having broadcasting and having remote participation, those are extra benefits that our city has chosen to provide for a number of years, and people obviously value them. But I think what's most important is that we wish our employee well and return to good health. Okay, I'm having a little bit of trouble with my computer, so hopefully I can muddle through here, but if there's no further questions on the city manager's report, we'll move on to council business. So our first item is a consent agenda. There are 6 items under this, 4 licenses, 1 resolution allowing alcohol consumption in Wallace Park for the Knickerbocker, and another resolution for the annual Humane Society contract. So the way the consent agenda works, as a reminder, is there's no discussion on any of the items. We would just look for a motion and a second and take a vote. If any one council member wants to discuss any of the items, you can request that at this time. So if there's someone that would like to discuss any one of them, please say so. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve consent agenda items 1 through 4.
Second.
So you would like to remove items 5 and 6 from the consent agenda? Is that what you're?
I'm asking just
Requesting?
the approval of 1 through 4, and then we'll look at 5 and 6 separately.
Okay, so Drake, I just want to make sure we're doing this correctly.
Because they have resolutions?
Because they're listed as a consent agenda for 6 items, so I just want to make sure.
The motion is clear. You
Okay.
can approve 1 through 4,
Okay.
and then you'll take the others up individually.
Okay. Sounds good. So we had a motion from Mr. Watterson, second from Ms. Schmager to adopt consent agenda items 1 through 4. So we can't have any discussion on that. So Lisa, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Curler.
Aye.
Ms. Schmager.
Aye.
Ms. Quidnow.
Aye.
Mr. Coots.
Aye.
Mr. Waters.
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Okay, so then the next item listed is Resolution 26-01. Since we're not doing that as a consent agenda item, then Lisa, I'll ask you to read the title of that resolution for us.
City Council Resolution 26-01, permitting possession and consumption of alcohol in Wallace Park for the 2026 Knickerbocker Festival.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve City Council Resolution 26-01, permitting possession and consumption of alcohol in Wallace Park for the 2026 Knickerbocker Festival.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Michelle Quidnow, second by Mary Schmager. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, Lisa, would you please call the roll on Resolution 26-01?
Ms. Schmager?
Aye.
Ms. Quidnow?
Aye.
Mr. Coots?
Aye.
Mr. Waters?
Aye.
Ms. Curler?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. Next item is Resolution 26-02 regarding the Humane Society. Lisa, would you read that title for us, please?
City Council Resolution 26-02, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement between the City of Lake Mills and Humane Society of Jefferson County.
I'll move to approve City Council Resolution 2602, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement between the City of Lake Mills and Humane Society of Jefferson County.
I'll second.
Motion by Michelle Quidnow, second by Mary Schmaker. Any discussion?
Yeah, I did go, oops.
Great.
You recognize,
Go ahead.
thank you.
Great.
I did go back and research the last 4 years, and it's consistent in charges. Actually, the rates have come down over the years. So it does seem in line with past years.
Any other comments or discussion? Okay, seeing none, Lisa, please call the roll on Resolution 26-02.
Ms. Quidnow?
Aye.
Mr. Coots?
Aye.
Mr. Waters?
Aye.
Ms. Curler?
Aye.
Ms. Schmager?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. Your next item is Resolution 26-03, amendment to a development agreement. Lisa, would you read the title for us, please?
City Council Resolution 26-03, authorizing the city manager to execute the Second Amendment to Development Agreement Number 18-003, buy-in between the City of Lake Mills and Riverwood Holdings LLC for Brookstone Meadows Phases 6 through 10.
Thank you. Why don't we turn to staff and have you just go through this for us?
Sure. It's a rather simple amendment. It simply adds the extension of Brookstone Drive to the development agreement, which allows it to undergo the same treatment that the phases that you're all familiar with undergo for, in this case, 50% of the Brookstone Drive extension will be paid through by the special assessment arrangement through the development agreement. The rest will be covered either by capital dollars or the TIF district that overlays that area. So essentially, the side of it that will be developed by the developer is what's being paid for from the special assessment as stipulated in the process in the development agreement.
Any questions or discussion on Resolution 26-03 or the Second Amendment to the Developers Agreement? Greg?
I'll move to approve resolution, I didn't bring my glasses, so bear with me. Resolution
26-03.
26-03.
Second.
We have a motion by Greg Waters, seconded by Mary Schmaker. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Lisa, would you please call the roll on Resolution 26-03?
Mr. Coots?
Aye.
Mr. Waters?
Aye.
Ms. Curler?
Aye.
Ms. Schmager?
Aye.
Ms. Quidnow?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is Resolution 26-04. Lisa, would you read that for us?
City Council Resolution 26-04, approving 2026 East Prospect Street, Moss Street, and Mulberry Street reconstructions project plans and authorizing bid.
Thank you. And we have Matt Haslett from Strand Associates, who's the lead for this project. So I think you have a presentation for us, Matt.
I do have a presentation. With the technology here, I have my laptop, but I think all of you have it in your packet, and I also have it printed off. If you want print-off copies, I can hand them out.
If you have a printed copy, because my computer is crashed on me, so if you happen to have a printed one, I can follow along.
Otherwise, I'd be happy to share. Okay.
Please got one, thanks. Thanks, Matt. And this is the same one that's posted with the agenda.
Correct.
Great.
All right, so this will be number 2 of probably 5 council meetings I'll be at here in the next couple months regarding our different projects. This one, East Prospect Street, reconstruction, just as a kind of a reminder of the project limits. They are on your second sheet with that map there. Full reconstruction of East Prospect Street from Birch Street to Birch Street to Moss Street, Moss from Prospect to Mulberry, and then Mulberry Street from East Grant to Moss, the remaining about 300 feet of Mulberry Street that still needs to get reconstructed from 2019 project, and then the scratch coat that the city did a couple years ago from Moss to Prairie. Along with that, we are adding a mill and overlay, a couple mill and overlay sections on Moss and Short Street from Prospect to Prairie, and then East Prospect Street from Moss to Prairie Avenue. Probably touch on those a little bit more next week, like specifics with Dwayne's, or next meeting with Dwayne's mill and overlay presentation on that, but that was requested from the city to add it into this project just because of the proximity of the project and not to have multiple reconstruction or construction going on at two different times for those residents. So that's why it's all lumped in here. And I believe that funding for that is from the maintenance program. They'll just kind of pull out some dollars for that to cover the costs. Next slide is anticipated project schedule. Council approval to bid tonight. Bid opening on February 12th. The advertisement, if the project does get approved to bid, will be advertised next Thursday on the 29th. A 2-week bid opening period, or a bid period, follows state statutes, state regulations. We've done that historically over the years. So following everything correctly there. Anticipated construction this spring, either April or May, depending on how contracts line up and contractor schedule, with a completion we have it written in the contract of mid-September right now. There are some stipulations in the contract that construction cannot happen on the Birch Street, Prospect Street intersection during school, regular school hours and time. So and I reached out to the elementary school principal and assistant principal, and then the Lake Mills transportation individual as well. They're all kind of on a correspondence email with myself, kind of informing them what was going on, our time frame with the schedule. There was really no additional questions at that time, just with their construction going on right now, and then now this road construction, they just wanted to make sure that Birch Street wouldn't be affected during the school time. So basically, there's a milestone where Birch Street will have to get done between June 5th and middle of August before school starts. We also have a stipulation in the contract for Mulberry Street as well, and Mulberry Street has because it's connected to the County Highway a 6-week duration from the time of basically groundbreaking activity to final completion, so including curb and gutter and asphalt and some sidewalk repair for a 6-week duration. There are, if you look at your drawings, and I don't know if I have the exact sheet, but there is a detour plan that'll be posted for residents or traffic that are either entering from the north on A or trying to come up Mulberry from the south on Lake Street. There's a detour basically just around that, notifying them. So in order for that not to be up all summer, we're writing it that they have 6 weeks from start to finish on Mulberry Street. So that gives the contractor a little bit of a flexibility on when they want to start Mulberry Street. We're not dictating when they want to start, but just kind of letting them know, hey, you have 6 weeks from start to finish. It's not really too much different from what we've done in the past on Milton Street and on Oak Street as well, where we've given them 10 weeks or 11 weeks from start to finish instead of a 3 or 4 month duration to have it open for that whole time. We had a PIM a couple weeks back. Good attendance at that. We had about 20 or so individuals and residents.
PIM is?
Public information meeting. Thank you. I did that again last week at Public Works Board, public information meeting. There will be a second public information meeting I would say probably in April, before construction starts. That one's going to be more kind of construction specific, to kind of let the residents know what to expect during construction, regarding access and kind of emergency vehicles and what day-to-day might look like and appropriate notices and all that sort of thing. So the next few slides are the plan profile drawings. Full replacement of water and sanitary sewer on Prospect and Mulberry Street. Moss Street doesn't have water and sanitary sewer because there are no water services from the homes that are on Moss Street. We are adding storm sewer as part of this project. There is currently no storm sewer kind of in that whole area right now, so the addition of storm sewer will really help the kind of ponding and lack of pavement structured quality and that sort of thing in the future. So we're adding basically storm sewer all the way from where we ended on Mulberry Street up Moss and then to the west on Prospect Street, almost all the way to Birch Street. Now getting into a little bit of the tree protection stuff and policy. So as you all are well aware, last year Milton Street was our first year of the tree protection pilot program. I think overall it went pretty well with the constraints that the contractor followed. We had Strand hired the on-site arborist they were there during any activity within the tree protection zones. That communication came through me that I believe that it went pretty well overall. Some learning curves, right, which would to be expected with the contractor and the arborist, and just kind of how specific day-to-day operations would be with, root cutting and different things. But overall, very good, I thought it went. And the fencing went well. A few times we had to remind the contractors over and over to kind of make sure the fence isn't falling down if you're accidentally knocking it. So that maybe was a little bit of a headache on my end. But year 2 of tree protection policy will be incorporated in here. This slide is from last year's presentation as well. So we're basically going to be doing the same exact procedure this year with tree protection policy. I did want to add in, and I'll kind of touch on this in the next topic here, but opening of cost for the alternative deducts this year is about $36,000 anticipated. It is a hard number to kind of quantify on what the contractor is going to put on those deducts. Those deducts are kind of listed here, tree protection fencing, root cutting, hand formed curb within the tree protection zones, hand formed sidewalk, compaction, and then obviously if the city deems the contractor irresponsible, there's liquidated damages written into the contract as well. So last year, and I believe it was asked, a request from the council for this presentation was kind of getting a cost of what tree protection may look like on Prospect Street. So the table on slide number 10, this was basically from last year's Milton Street project, just kind of revamped a little bit. So I kept the same number of, or the same items in here. These were items that after we bid Milton Street, were it kind of caught our eye of these costs are kind of higher than what we'd anticipate. So we wanted to kind of break down and see the cost difference and the percentage of what the cost implication is on the tree protection. So this year, basically the difference that I did here is we adjusted the bid quantity to correspond with Prospect Street's quantity. And then in the fourth column over, Milton Street plus 3% inflation, that is kind of what we're estimating what the unit price would be this year in our OPCC. So that's Milton Street plus 3%. And then the low bidder unit, high bidder unit prices, those are just inflation from 2023 from College Street, inflated up 3%. The percent difference between percent higher than the low unit price and then the percent higher than the high unit price kind of gives you an idea of potential what differences we may see and then a dollar amount associated with that. So kind of in general, $128,000 is roughly kind of what we're, our opinion or our estimate of what the additional cost would be of the tree protection. But if you subtract out the alternative costs, that would give you about that $92,000 number. So I know that's a lot of numbers and a lot going on, and I wish I could bring something up, but I'll stop there and just kind of want to ask questions if you have questions on that. The next slide kind of condenses it into a summary a little bit better, but I'll pause for a minute.
Table, Mary.
Well, I do have a question on the tree protection policy. I know we're talking about these as, I would say, like a pilot. And I was a bit surprised that, and when you say that it went well, that I'm just curious if there are any components that didn't go well. So as an example, I walked Milton Street often. So I don't live far from there. So I was on Milton Street, and I mentioned this when we had a debrief on it a while back. All of the fences were down, and all of the metal posts, -4, were completely damaged. And I can't imagine a contractor didn't have some equipment damage or something running into all of these poles. And so, and they were always down, and I was like, so it didn't look like it was successful, although a lot of the materials laying there, and maybe the fact that the fence material laying there was just enough of an observation for someone to go, oh yeah, I have to remember that tree's there. I felt like that one piece of it, at least by the eye, I would have said was a complete failure. From just observing it as somebody who's looking to see what, I was passing judgment based on what I observed. And I'm not familiar with all of the other things like the hand root cutting or hand gutter forming. And so I'm just curious if we were to look at all of the layers of the things that we're trying in the tree protection policy, are all of them working well, or are some of them maybe we need to pause and ask ourselves, are they worth it, or do we need a different approach while we're going into the second pilot? So instead of using the orange plastic fence and the metal posts, should we be using something else that might be a better suited for better protection and maybe less equipment damage? So I would like to learn more about, I really would like, I know trees are important, and I know
The fencing, that's what you see, right? That's what residents see. So I agree that probably didn't go as well as it should have gone. The other aspects with the root cutting and staging areas and everything on that aspect went pretty well. The arborist was there to help me out as well, to kind of point out, hey, we're going to hand cut this root, we're going to do that. And the contractor had bought special equipment, special tools and solutions. So, yeah, I think that was definitely the hardest part of the project, was keeping the contractor aware and knowledgeable that the fence has to stay up during the duration of the project.
Was there any pushback from the contractor when the arborist directed them to use the specialized tools that they had to go out and get?
In the beginning, there was. They didn't want to. But we specifically had that in our contract that they had to, or else that there would be liquidated damages associated with that.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt the flow.
No, you're good. So I don't know if it was, and I don't want to say the contractor hasn't done this before. I don't know if the contractor has done tree protection before or not. I don't know if it was a new thing for them. I don't know if it wasn't. I'm not backing one side. I think that was a challenge. And I think keeping the fence intact helps the contractor know where the tree protection zones are. And that's the main idea behind this all, is to notify where the tree protection zone is. And if we're getting close to a tree protection zone, that's when we need the arborist on site to give further direction, if a root is encountered.
Maybe I'll just, I think this is more of a comment than anything, but I think you made a good point that, last year was our first year, we were gaining experience, and we can apply some of that. to this. The fencing is such a visual thing, it's sort of obvious when it's not being complied with. The other ones are maybe not going to be so obvious to somebody walking by, and some of the other ones, we won't know. You know, I think Drake has commented on this previously with the committee and with the council that, you know, we won't know for 5 years whether it did increase the viability or longevity of the mature trees or not. So some of it is a little hard to measure. I think the fencing seems like an obvious one that's pretty easy for most, you know, the lay person even to see whether that's being followed or not. So I appreciate hearing what you observed last year, and that's maybe something that, you know, we'll have to continue to reinforce if we move forward with these parts of the contract.
Right.
Or if the approach didn't go well, I'm trying to get, the approach didn't go well in the first round, is there an alternative for that same, to address this fencing, is there an alternative to try for pilot number 2 that maybe would give different outcomes? Like I don't know what alternatives there are, but I just thought I'd ask the question since that's all you can see, and you are right, it's hard to measure, but it did appear as if that one I would have thought the contractor, it just didn't resonate as to me looking successful from just visually looking at it.
Great.
I've been traveling the last couple of weeks, but I did get a report during that time period from the tree committee chairperson that actually did an informal review of Milton Street tree policy, how it went, talked to residents, and it was largely positive.
Well, that's good.
I asked her if I could forward that to council members, and she did give me the green light to do that. I just haven't had the time because I just
that's
got
good to know.
back from my trip. So I will forward that to everybody. We'll actually forward it to Misty and have her forward it to everybody.
Great.
So
Okay.
you can see her informal review
Perspective.
of Milton Street, but it was overwhelmingly positive.
Okay.
So
I think
The residents.
I think the residents really appreciated the effort to protect the trees.
Great. So I guess I do have a follow-up question on this slide 10, the potential indirect costs, and I recall you providing this information to us last year as well for Milton Street. So I guess if I were to summarize it, it seems like what you're describing for us is that a contractor may be charging greater costs for other elements of the project that maybe aren't strictly those tree protection
Correct. Yep.
techniques, but that we may be getting a larger overall
Correct.
cost.
Correct.
for
Yeah.
the
And
project. Okay.
that next slide, I kind of totaled everything up there, and potential anticipated would be like a 7% increase, 7.3% increase, just based off of what we saw on Milton Street, and then that price compared to our previous College Street kind of full reconstruction without any tree protection policy pilot program on that. Roughly where we're going to be seeing increased prices, I believe, are what kind of have I laid out here, the curb and gutter, especially with like hand forming curb, sidewalk, hand form curb, hand placement. Laterals is a big one because if there's, at least on Milton Street, there's a lot of laterals, water services and sanitary sewer laterals that went kind of in the tree protection area. So if during design, if we're trying to move them out, that's just, it's adding a little bit of length, but it's also just adding a little bit of time for the contractor to kind of loop around and connect back in versus going kind of straight through and connecting. Those are the kind of big ones. What interesting from what the arborist told me was they noticed that any roots or potential roots within the roadway behind, from the back of the curb to the back of the curb wasn't really any roots at all in the roadway. A little bit surprising to me, but as I think about it, it actually makes sense because the water isn't able to get into the ground. So that was kind of one big thing that I was like, okay, it makes sense that we wouldn't see roots while we're putting in a water main or putting in a sanitary sewer. One thing that's also different about Prospect Street versus Milton is that last year we had temporary water on Milton Street because of the tree protection zones that were within the roadway. We had no storm sewer, so we were able to basically we moved the water main to avoid these tree protection zones, but because we did that, we had to put temporary water in because we were putting water main in on top of existing water main. That cost was pretty high. It was about $88,000 for that cost. So we're not having that cost on this project. That number also is taken out on my next slide on my summary sheet, but just some information that I wanted to share with you guys.
So Matt, I don't know if you're, we've been asking a lot of questions, so I
Yeah,
don't
no,
want
this
to
is good.
interrupt your
Yep.
flow, but, so on page 11 then, for your opinion of increased cost, that 7.3%, does that include the direct and the potential indirect costs? Or-
Correct, that's total, yep. So that's
Total of both.
the 53,000 plus about the 92,000.
So it could be less, because the
It could-
indirect
could-
costs are potentials.
Correct.
So that's like half the percentage from Milton Street. So
And I think
that's
a-
a significantly
I think a big part of that was that water, the temporary water that I
Water
was
main.
explaining.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
We also
Um,
received one bid on Milton Street that may have played a role. So it's possible if we have a more competitive bidding environment, those costs get driven down.
They might be lower. Mhm.
I just have a few pictures on the remaining slides of just existing conditions out there. We are narrowing Prospect Street. I don't know if all of you know that or not, but we are narrowing it from 38 feet to 34 feet. The city standard is 34 feet, back of curb to back of curb. So with that narrowing, we add terrace width, 2 feet on each side for tree protection health or tree health, plus, snow storage. There was also a question that came out of the public information meeting about parking, and it still allows both sides on-street parking with travel lanes. 11-foot travel lanes, which is at the minimum of what you'd want, but it still allows those travel lanes. And I don't know if we've done a speed study, Drake, but I don't know the results of that yet. If there is speeding going on Prospect, I don't know that, but it may help slow down traffic too.
We ready for general questions?
Sure.
General questions?
Did Public Works approve this bid package?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Can I ask a question specific to the resolution? Would it be in our best interest to note that this particular authorizing bid resolution includes covering tree protection policy pilot, includes, to just note that we have it as an additional part of the bid? Because it is, it's a carve out that's pilot number 2. If I'm just looking for, it's like a records retention thing. Would that be in our best interest to have that in the resolution, or is it not important?
If you'd like to memorialize that it's the second project of 3 projects identified for the pilot program, you certainly could. As far as affecting implementation of it, it's not necessary because it's incorporated into the bid
plan.
package and contract.
Okay, I don't think it needs to be, I just didn't know if it was, if it was more of a, I don't know, I guess it was a process question. Okay.
And then the alternatives, kind of like last year, would be basically removing the tree protection out of the project. So we'll have a number of alternatives that you'll see.
Okay.
And those will just be basically removing, as Drake said, the tree protection pilot program is in the base bid.
Okay.
Matt, I just want to make a couple comments. I had no idea that there was no storm sewer in Moss Street, but I have gotten citizen concerns about water ponding in that area. So I attended the public information meeting, and people seemed to be very pleased that that was going to be addressed, because that's pretty flat, that whole area.
The entire
there.
street there.
It's
Yep.
very-
Mulberry
it's
Street is
difficult
flat
to deal
too
with
there. So
drainage.
we are adding probably about 20 inlets just kind of throughout the entire project corridor.
Yeah.
To really help that out.
Yeah, so that's great that's, those issues are going to be addressed, because that's definitely an area I've heard from people in that neighborhood, over the years, and I keep saying it's on the plan, to do your neighborhood. So I'm glad that that's going to be able to be addressed. And then also, the public information meeting I thought was well done. The citizens seemed to be very engaged. They had lots of good questions, and you and your fellow Matt, we're well prepared to answer them or just to take people's input, talk to them later. So I think that's really positive. That's one of the things I know we have talked about as a council and with staff, just increasing that lines of communication, with these street projects to avoid misunderstandings later. So thank you I thought that meeting was very well done. Okay, are there any other questions? I don't think we have a motion on the table yet.
I enlarged it so I can read it now.
Okay.
I'll move to approve City Council Resolution 26-04.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Greg Waters and a second by Michelle Quednow. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, Lisa, would you call the roll?
Mr. Waters?
Aye.
Ms. Curler?
Aye.
Ms. Schmager?
Aye.
Ms. Quednow?
Aye.
Mr. Coots?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, our next item is Resolution 26-05 related to our wastewater treatment plant. Elise, would you read that title for us?
City Council Resolution 26-05, approving the wastewater treatment plant facilities plan and authorize the city manager to execute a task order for Phase 1 design with the city engineer.
Thank you. So let's go to our staff reports. We have our engineer Travis Anderson here. Drake, is there anything you wanted to?
The only
kick
thing
off
I'll
with
call
first?
out is apologies for the delay. An addendum number 2 was added. All it simply added was that someone who routed a public comment correctly to me that for some reason I could not find in my inbox let me know that they did make a comment. They forwarded me the email that they had sent. I received that one, so we updated an addendum to show that we did receive one public comment during the public comment period. So it is included in the facilities plan and will be incorporated into what would be submitted to the DNR.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so just an update, we have had the public hearing for the facility plan, the public comment period, and DNR has completed their review. We did get a couple requests for a couple clarifications from DNR, which were incorporated into addendum number 1, which was in your packets. Really nothing that impacted the recommended project. They wanted some clarifications related to the population projections, and that was mainly really the heart of their question was related to the former Rock Lake Sanitary District. They just wanted some clarifications on that, and so we just provided a little bit more breakdown, which is in the table in that addendum number 1, showing the projections separated for the city itself and the former Rock Lake Sanitary District that discharges to the cities.
The Rock Lake Sanitary District is the former sanitary district that served the town of Lake Mills. In the 90s, the city was required to take it over as that district failed, and the city needed to take on processing that material from that district.
So we provided that clarification, and then they did ask for the parallel cost ratio, which is basically that is determining the subsidized interest rate that is available through the DNR's Clean Water Fund. And the analysis that we've done here, we're recommending that the city receive the full subsidized interest rate. So it's a reduced interest rate through the Clean Water Fund. And then since there is a minor hauled waste septage receiving component of the project that is eligible for a 0% rate for that portion of the project. So that again, that's nothing that impacts the recommended project. It's really more something down the road when we do the Clean Water Fund application. So really, those were the only things that they were looking for clarification on. So I'm happy to go over anything that I previously discussed, or if there's any follow-up questions that anyone has thought of, we can certainly do that. But next steps would be to start proceeding with design for the Phase 1 upgrades.
Thank you. So are there any questions for Travis or comments on the facility plan and the task order?
Yeah.
Greg?
I'm glad you went through the Wisconsin DNR information, but several members of this council asked for additional review of the facility, and I don't see that here. And I guess I'm disappointed not to have that information. I know that there's concerns about the pricing continuing to go up. Every time I see a number, it seems to be higher and higher and higher. And there is a need to move forward with the project. I get that. But I'm disappointed that city council's input is not being taken at this point. What can we do to fix that issue?
I'm sorry, I think I may
What
have.
section are you referring to?
The administration.
The administration building, there is a letter included in your packet that went out that it's describing it in more detail. And
So you're talking about Mr. Picard's message?
No.
Letter?
No. The letter in your packet dated October 13th, 2025, with additional details on the administrative building, which is still under the purview of the city council to amend the design of it when you choose to go out to bid or as you go through that process.
And maybe that's something that would be helpful to clarify. So with respect to the administration building and what's proposed for it, this facility plan gives a summary of the need and the desire for the city to have a new building and what purpose it would serve and what the reasons are for it. And it gives a projected cost for that. But we're not at the design phase where we would be it sounds like you're saying in the future, this council would have the opportunity to weigh in on the specific design and what features and what cost we would be willing to spend on a new administration building. Is that correct?
You'll have to approve the entire design package, so you certainly can remove it from Phase 1 if you'd like, or eliminate storage bays or things of that nature, but at the time of approval, you'll have an opinion of probable cost on each item that you're being asked to send out to bid. So if you're saying right now the administrative building should be eliminated, you certainly can make that direction now. If you want to only have administrative building and not have outdoor bays for storage of equipment and things of that nature, you can certainly make that now and we'll adjust the plan. Otherwise, you can wait and debate what pieces of the administrative building are important during the design phase of it.
Mary?
First of all, I appreciate all of the work that's gone into the plan, and I'm gonna tag on, Greg. I agree with you regarding, we had discussed and a concern about the 4.6 million, and where I'm coming out is that I was super impressed with the level of detail on all of the components of the wastewater treatment plant itself. So like, we know how many and how large, and so you can visualize that the level of scrutiny on all of those components to me was done where I learned a lot, and it was a little overwhelming, honestly, because it was just, you really, all the parts have given a lot of deep thought. But the administration building, and I think this is where I am, I'm looking at the level of detail on the administration building. It's 16% of the overall budget in Phase 1 is the 4.6 million for the building. And I don't know how many staff it's serving, the square footage requirements for storage, how many, like I'm missing the same level of scrutiny And I support a new building. So then I brought that back up when we talked about this, I think it was in November, December. I appreciate that there's a need. I understand. I don't like you're describing the exposure to the chemicals and the showering units. And so I understand the business case. But what I'm missing is the same level of scope and level of detail of amenities of what the 4.6 million would be put towards. Because if I look at the picture and you look at the little square of the current building, it's like the new building is 8 times that little square that's in that on the picture. And I'm having a hard time supporting that large 8X scale visual piece because there's a lack of information at that same level of detail on the administration building. And what the risks are if we had the certain pieces of equipment not in bays, and the alternatives, so we could go Route X or Route Y. And so I actually am thinking that an amendment to the resolution, I would like to propose. Do you want to have more conversation first before I suggest what I was thinking for an amendment to the resolution?
We don't have a motion on the resolution yet, so you could either make a motion and amend it, or we could continue discussion. I think we've got several options, but there's no motion on the table at this point.
I didn't know if there was more discussion before I moved on because we were talking about the building, but there might be a lot of other conversation.
Can you describe it without moving for anything? Can you just describe it as part of the discussion right now, what you're thinking?
Tell us what you have in mind for
Yes,
amendment.
of removing the administration building from Phase 1, pending further review and approval by the city council, so that we get a chance to learn more about what that specific facility is, and then it can still move in parallel and pull back into it's kind of still part of Phase 1, but that it takes, so we don't hold up the rest of the plan, which is really critical. The DNR, the true, I would say regulatory related, our facility, we keep that going, but we pull out the administration building from Phase 1, pending further review, so that we can, as a city council, get more insight into that piece of this plan. That would be the amendment I was going.
Can I ask
That's otherwise authorized by city council, right?
I'm sorry?
I think you had said the wording, unless otherwise authorized by city council. So it could get back into Phase 1 with more information.
Yes, absolutely.
Correct.
That would be the intent, that I just would like more information on the administration building, so I would like to pull it out, let the rest of the balance of the plan go forward, but then come back and learn more so that we put it back into Phase 1 as a part, but then I am more clear on the level of spend and the detail regarding what the outcomes will be. Because 4.6 million seems on the high end for what I would think for what is being described.
If I could just add one point of clarification, and I apologize because I misunderstood the direction from the last meeting. I had mentioned last time I was here that as a very initial phase, when we start design, before we put any effort into the admin building, we do have architects on staff that can come up with a range of options of footprints, building materials, different uses, levels of storage, that type of thing, just very conceptual to present to the council the range of options and costs before any design is done. That's what I was planning on as a first step of design, which we haven't started yet. You're not locked into anything at this point by approving the facility plan. DNR wouldn't hold you to anything related to the admin building. So that was my plan moving forward. I apologize that I didn't understand that you were looking for that tonight. But that definitely was on my radar. I did understand that you were looking for that level of analysis and evaluation on the building. I just thought that we would be starting that at the beginning of design, next month or in March, that type of thing.
I appreciate that follow-up, Travis, and I do recall you talking about that, and that was consistent with my understanding that we would have future opportunities to weigh in on exactly what, what goes into that building, how big it is, could have some choices as far as, could have more information and could have some choices as far as how much we would spend. It is, you're right, Mary, it's a significant percentage of the cost of Phase 1. I personally think it's essential for our staff safety that we provide a different building space for them. So to me, I think it's important to have as a part of Phase 1. And based on what you've said here, I don't see any reason to delay approving the plan and the task order tonight. And I think we can get these concerns addressed down the road. That's my take on it.
So can I ask a clarifying question? So if we approve the plan, are we stating that we are spending 4.6 million on the building? That's what I'm trying, because, okay, then that helps me support the plan. But I feel that is a gap in, and I think if it's part of the process, which it does note that you have this, like the planning of the building as a part of the work that will be completed in the work plan, the task order. But I was trying to connect the dots on its level of detail hadn't risen to the same level as the wastewater treatment plant.
And I think it's fair to say, that the information that you just shared with us about what you would be doing in the initial steps of the design, that is not in the plan itself, so it wouldn't be obvious, to the reader. I think that was one of the citizen comments was about, having the architectural design and having the ability to kind of evaluate what all would be done in that administration building. So I think that would be a good way to address that as well. Great.
I had a similar motion prepared as Mary, so we were thinking along the same lines. But as long as we're able to narrow down and look at that down the road, I'm good with moving forward at this point.
Yeah, same here.
Any other questions or comments? I did just want to highlight the other citizen comment that we got that was, and because he called me and then and contacted Drake, so we were able to get that information incorporated in your addendum too, which I thank you for getting that together so quickly. I think his other comment was generally like, why are we saying we're going to approve stuff in Phase 1 if maybe it's, why are we saying just because it's at the end of its useful life, if it's still working, why are you, spending the money on it? But one of the things I thought in reaction to that is looking at the schedule. I mean, we're talking about 2029 construction, so it still is, another 3 years out, and these pieces and parts are going to continue to age. But I wondered if you could comment on that at all, Travis. Are there some benefits to replacing things sort of all at one time instead of when they fall apart? I don't know how to think about that.
Yeah, I would just add to what you said that the vast majority of Phase 1 is more driven by meeting code than replacing aging infrastructure. The aging infrastructure is just, it's a further driver to move the project forward because, not only are these processes undersized according to code, but they're also going to be almost 40 years old by the time they get replaced, which is at the point where you are putting more money into them than they're worth. So I appreciate that comment. You obviously need to allocate your resources carefully, but I would say the primary driver is that the processes are undersized according to code, and DNR would say they need to be upsized even if they weren't 40 years old. The 40 years old is just pushing it forward, making it more urgent.
Okay, yeah, and I think Phase 2 is somewhere around 10 or 11 years out, so they'll be that much older, then at that point. So, okay, thanks for that. One other thing I wanted to ask about, I mean, we've heard some comment tonight. I occasionally will get people asking me about, does our infrastructure have the capacity to handle new development? And my understanding is that, we're designing, 20 years out, and so like our system now can handle additional growth, and then this plan would be for, 20, through 2050, planning for the growth that we might experience. So am I understanding that right?
Yes, that's correct. You're on the edge right now. Certainly, you can continue what you have planned residentially. That is not going to be an issue through the construction phase of this project. Then with construction here, you're going to have a lot more capacity. In this time frame between now and when phase one is complete, you'd have to be really careful about any major water users, because the limitations, those capacity shortfalls that I've talked about are flow driven. So if you get let's just say you get a commercial or industrial entity that wants to come to the city and they're a large water user, that's where you'd have to be careful in the next 3 years until phase one comes online. Then you're going to have the capacity to have a little bit more freedom there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, phase one improvements takes you to a population equivalent of somewhere over 12,000. Phase two takes you to around 13,000, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so.
And that doesn't include adding in or transitioning to the AGS, aerobic granular sludge system, and that you could add additional capacity with at a smaller footprint.
Yeah, the benefit of phasing the project is we can take a look at those projections again when you start design for that in 10 years. And if things have changed, well, then we can adjust. If you're growing faster than we thought you would, then, we can make that adjustment in phase two.
And then the rate projection, the rate case projection did assume no growth.
Correct.
So those rates are assuming that the ratepayer population remains stagnant over the payment of the principal and interest. So additional ratepayers defray that cost across a larger base, which would result in a reduction in the necessary rate increases.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a resolution 26-05. Is anybody ready to make a motion?
I will move to approve City Council Resolution 26-05, approving the wastewater treatment plant facilities plan and authorize the city manager to execute a task order for phase one design with the city engineer.
Mr. Coots will second.
We have a motion by Mary Schmaker, seconded by Greg Coots. Is there any further discussion or questions? Okay, seeing none, Elise, would you please call the roll on Resolution 26-05?
Ms. Curler?
Aye.
Ms. Schmager?
Aye.
Ms. Quidnow?
Aye.
Mr. Coots?
Aye.
Mr. Waters?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, we're in the home stretch. Our last item under City Council business is Ordinance 1287. This is our second reading tonight. So Lisa, would you read that title for us?
Ordinance 1287, amending City of Lake Mills Code, Chapter 38, City Council, Section 38-6, referendum requirements.
Thank you. So we will include this on our next agenda for the third reading and a vote at that time. Mr. Coots, I had a question for you since you're the sponsor of this ordinance. I think you shared with us previously, but I just wanted to make sure I understood. So the proposal is raising the dollar amount that would trigger us doing an advisory referendum. And I think you said your goal in that is to really just address inflation since the time that that ordinance was adopted. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the number right off the top of my head, but a dollar from when that was originally passed is equivalent to somewhere around like $1.85 or $1.90 today.
Okay, so it's just, it's close to matching the inflation. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments tonight?
And just
Great.
an FYI, that does not include the wastewater treatment plant because that's part of the utilities. So it's not covered under this amendment or this not resolution, I guess it's
Ordinance.
a code ordinance.
Ordinance, right. Good point. Any other discussion on ordinance 1287? Okay, so we'll have that for third reading at our next agenda. And so that takes us to announcements and recommendations for future agendas. Anything else, Drake, that you want to make us aware of?
Nothing that wasn't either mentioned earlier or during the meeting.
Okay.
Lisa?
Yes.
Something that was mentioned during the meeting, the invitation to Operation Namesake, do we need to publish a notice of possible quorum for that?
Oh, that's probably a good idea. Yeah. Drake, did you receive that invitation? Okay, I'll forward it to you, and that would be a good idea for a notice of possible quorum. It's in February, so we've got a little time. Michelle?
I would just like to give you a heads up. The library board is contemplating coming and addressing some of their needs to the board or the council here sometime in February. We have some good news to share. I'm not going to spoil it. But I do want to know, or I do want to just give you a warning that these are things that are coming and they're well thought out. That was purposefully vague.
Great, so that will be coming from Gerard or from the board, or?
Yes.
Both, okay.
Yes.
Great.
Probably Gerard as the spokesperson, and then I'll be back.
Super, okay, we'll look forward to an update. Great.
We seem to have a lot of questions lately on the golf course. I was just kind of wondering where we might be from a city standpoint on that issue.
Sure, I'll try to be as concise as I can. The next step in the golf course proposal is a concept review at the Plan Commission a week from tonight on the 27th. There are two components to the single-family home development proposal. And one is the future land use map amendment, and the other is the zoning change amendment. The future land use map amendment requires approval from both the Plan Commission and the City Council. The future land use map amendment must be made before a zoning amendment can be approved. So after the concept review, depending how that goes, if a formal application is received and moved forward and acted upon, we will need to start with, and they can run in parallel, but we will need to start with the future land use map amendment at the Plan Commission level. If the future land use map amendment were to be approved by the Plan Commission, then it would move on to the City Council for consideration, at which time the Plan Commission could offer a recommendation on the zoning change for final action by the City Council. If the future land use map amendment is denied by the Plan Commission, it will not appear before the City Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
State law prohibits zoning changes that are in contradiction with the approved future land use map in the approved comprehensive plan.
So just to follow up on that then, you said there's a concept review at the Plan Commission, so that's not a decision item, that's feedback?
Correct. Now, the Plan Commission could say, we have no intention of changing a future land use amendment on this property at the concept review and not take formal action, but a landowner would still be entitled to a process if they submitted, but the idea of the concept review is to offer feedback or reaction to a proposal to avoid the more expensive pieces of a development proposal, both from the city's perspective and the developer's perspective. So if concept reviews are met with skepticism, that can change the direction of a potential application, but that'll be for the Plan Commission to provide that feedback to the developer. There will be staff reports on it, and staff will be available to advise the Plan Commission as necessary, but no formal motions are made, but feedback is provided.
So from a scheduling perspective, this is the concept review is scheduled for next week's Plan Commission. If the developer goes forward with proposing a future land use map amendment, that would be at the February Plan Commission. And that would mean that this, even if everything did move forward to city council, the council probably would not be seeing a proposal until March. Would that be?
Yes.
Okay,
If
just
it
for
moved
citizens to be
if-
aware, this body will probably not be taking anything up until at least March. Is
If
that
it moved
would be
at the
accurate?
fastest possible
Okay.
speed. So a public hearing is required for a future land use map amendment and a zoning map amendment. Those notices have to go out. They have to go out within a certain amount of time. And so it all
Right.
depends on when final applications are finalized and essentially the developer telling the city we'd like to move forward with this application. So yes, it could be on the February meeting for a public hearing on,
The February Plan Commission meeting.
sorry,
Yeah,
the
okay.
February Plan Commission meeting. That would be the fastest timeline on which it could move.
Okay, thank you. Michelle?
Just to continue that thought, can you explain what usually is the effect or outcome of a public hearing? What kind of actions can take place from the Plan Commission when a public hearing takes place?
The public hearing occurs at the Plan Commission. During the public hearing portion of the agenda, only public comment is received. The public hearing is then closed after public comment is received, and then the Plan Commission takes up the amendment applications for consideration. At which time after the public hearing is taken place, they are permitted to take action on the application before them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else as far as agendas or announcements? Okay, then I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Absolutely.